Happy Monday. We are going to work and chat together because I'm busy. So we're going to enjoy that process. And hopefully you can hear me the whole time as I look around for all the things I need. I'm still actively building my office space, which you might say is taking too long, but I would agree. And on that note, I think, I go back and forth. Well, I don't really go back and forth. I reflect on the fact that doing a cash flow business involving needing to fully furnish a 3 office suite with a waiting room and a shared space and a kitchenette is great. It has its own challenges when you can't just purchase from a catalog and drop $10, $20, $30,000 on a ton of furniture and decor and all that. But, that is what it is. So overall, I'm content with this process. It just takes a lot of time, and you still got to find time for other stuff too. Like, oh no, we're falling over. Yeah. I knew that might not be the best. Look at us, we get to go on a little adventure. What can I grab that will hold it up? That'll do. Yeah. Running the rest of the business, if my only job was taking care of the renovation and the behind the scenes, that'd be one thing. But for anyone who owns a business, you know full well that you don't get off that easy. There's so much more that needs done. This recording, we'll get about 22 minutes in before it just kind of kaputs, which is fine. But this will be a unique musing because I'm just probably going to talk your ear off while I build stuff. And, I think that's plenty fun. There it is. Right now I'm building a dining room table for the shared space. And I already satisfied the request for doing a office tour. I think the first or second week I was in here. But I'm actually looking really forward to doing another one of these videos and offering another tour to everyone, because I'm getting really excited as this space gets completed. And we just brought in another therapist today, and just kind of felt like a version of a second launch almost, of just getting that person in, and the person who joined me day one having this very rudimentary, like, we're figuring out as we go. And there's definitely still an element of that with person number 2 being sick. We're 6 weeks in now with the second person joining. And yeah, it's not 100% complete, but it's so much better and cleaner and well put together. And even today, hopefully by the end of this week, it'll be even somewhat night and day different. Well, that's a little much to say night and day different, but ideally notably different by the end of the week. And there's just a lot that goes into this. And I think, I know this isn't as psychotherapeutic right now, but the world of psychotherapy is benefited greatly by private practice clinicians like myself. And that's not me saying, it's not like a tooting my own horn. There's a lot of benefit to all the agencies that we have, and a lot of the government aid we can get, and the private funding and 501c3 nonprofits that just do a lot of great work. There's just different approaches for care that benefit people in different ways. And I think all need to be properly supported, or at least all of the main ones that we talk about need supported. And I think, like with most things, you really got to love the work you do when you want to run a business and grow something and expand something and do something different. And I think that's more or less a requirement if you want to actually enjoy the process. And maybe you don't want to enjoy the process. Maybe you just want to come in, clock out, and live for the weekend. But all things considered, I look forward to a lot of this work, and There's a lot of stuff that I don't. But I think building a space for therapists to come together and enjoy where they work, enjoy a private practice setting, and even if they're just renting space, but they're owning their own business and doing their own thing, and ideally creating a space for their clients to enjoy themselves. I've been doing a lot of work on the waiting rooms, that it's enjoyable with the beverage options and having fruit and other snacks out there. And ideally just having a comfortable place. We want the process comfortable. And, is not always a guarantee that people will have that experience. And I think any opportunity we can find to create that experience is great. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited about doing this. And, at the end of the day, who knows what will happen, and who knows if this will pan out the way that I think it will or the way I want it to. That's part of the journey. You just see what happens and you roll with it. And I think that's great. I mean, why not? And I think when you act through a love mindset versus a fear mindset, it just doesn't really matter. Obviously, I'm not making decisions that ruin my family if my business fails. And at the end of the day, I'm capable of working. So if this fails, whatever. I mean, not whatever. That would not be good. But the point I'm really trying to make with that is there's just... The point I'm trying to make with that is it's good to branch out and try something hard and see where it goes. And Lord willing, you make something good. And part of that means you don't have money to hire employees and you do everything yourself. Or yeah, I guess find assistants and stuff, but why do that when I can just do less of other stuff that I want to do, and we'll build a table instead. And it's relaxing. I can talk to you while I do it, or listen to an audiobook, which is what I've been doing a lot of lately, or music or whatever. And it's actually kind of a nice break from the regular flow for me. There's a lot of time spent behind a screen and doing computer stuff, so getting all the extra sweat going and moving stuff in and out during the extremely hot Kansas City summer we're having has been just fine. No sweat off my back. Well, that's ironically not true. Actually, a lot of sweat off my back, but in a very good way. And nothing beats confusing IKEA instructions, especially while you're trying to have a conversation with a camera. Am I getting this right? It's looking good. It's looking good. Ooh, clean. Oh, that went all the way off the back end. Crap. Good enough. Oh, slide back on. How did we get stuck here? Did I jack this whole thing up? Did I mess it up? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is part of the fun you get to have. Oh, yeah, that didn't find the track. All right. Can we just move it off the other way? No? Kudos to anyone who makes it through this whole video with my reflective thoughts being interrupted by not understanding how this track system on this table works. Which, admittedly, I didn't even realize it had a track system before I started building it. So that's kind of its own fun piece of info. Why aren't you moving? Yeah, so then you get little setbacks like this where you clearly mess something up and have to figure that part out. And I genuinely... Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll fix it that way. Oh, jeez. I think we'll fix it this way. Oh yeah, baby. Round 2. perfect moral lesson there of sometimes the solution to your problem is to actually go deeper into the issue. Sometimes you just gotta keep going through whatever cave or awkward moment you are, and backtracking is actually sometimes the dangerous route or the unhelpful route. Just like when you panic in moments that you should be calm and your body learns to respond differently. There we go. And then your time overall with damage and course correction gets reduced. And you move on to the next thing. I think we got that figured out then. So we got him in. And now we're screwing you in. Fantastic. This is quite the confusing process, if I do say so myself. I don't know how often you all build anything from IKEA, but I feel like they're getting more difficult. At least to me. At least to me. All right, so that's there. How do I screw that down? What are you talking about? I do not understand that step at all, and that concerns me because I do not want to backtrack. But it says to screw this in, and I see no place to do that. Where do I screw you in? Is it supposed to be further back, like it said? There's still no place to screw it in. Interesting. It's supposed to go in... where? Oh, I found it. If you've ever heard of the phrase rubber duck decoding, I like that phrase a lot. As someone who doesn't work in tech or software, but I've talked to people who do, it's seemingly a legit thing, and they talk about it in regards to literally having a rubber duck on your desk that you explain your coding problem to. Why would you do that? Because you might sit at a screen trying to solve this problem and trying to figure the code out, but you're not getting anywhere. Well, if you explain it to something, hence a rubber duck sitting on your desk next to your computer, you're sometimes going to find an answer while you explain it. You explain the problem to solve it. Sometimes we just sit and deal with a problem, and if we just talk about it, we get it figured out. That shows up in my field as well. Sometimes people just need to talk it out with themselves or with other people. And doing a video like this that helps me do that a little bit as well. And talk about things going on and just process out. Now, what's usually not talked about with rubber duck decoding is something I like to address to a lot of my clients and friends and people I know, as well as personal reminders for myself, is that your brain processes information, and your body for that matter, in multiple ways. If I hear someone say something, I've only processed that information minimally. I've heard it and I've thought about it. Actually, that's not even, I gave 2 steps there. Hearing something, sometimes we never really come back to it. And it might sit in your brain, but hearing is not processing in its entirety. You hear something, you think about it, so choosing to, especially if your cognition is more active and you decide to think on it more. And from there, maybe you more intentionally reflect about it and you talk to someone else about it. Now that you're talking, your brain is using a different pathway than it uses when it just thinks. So talking, it's not the same as thinking. You use a different part of your brain. If you think, well, that's not true, then go ahead and look up Broca's area and Wernicke's area. two distinct parts of the brain. We have aphasia that can happen through those parts where the brain is thinking relatively clear and knows exactly what it wants to say, but the words that come out are not what we're trying to communicate. So I might have in my mind, how are you doing today? And the words that come out of my mouth are, the sun is shining. And I know I said the wrong thing because the pathways for speech are not the same pathways as thought. It's also why some people with severe stutters can sing. It's a different pathway to sing than to speak as well. It's a different pathway when you write something down. People can write and not speak. People who are mute can write. It's a different thing happening, and it's more physical. You use your hands. Sign language, ASL, is a three-dimensional language. It's a mapped out language. It can be three-dimensionally modeled, and you can see it. It's a spatial language, and so it operates in the brain differently. The way people use ASL, their brain is operating differently than any other language that you would be using. Well, any other spoken language. Other types of sign language would also technically work as well. So, fascinating. Why do I say all this? Rubber duck decoding, like many things in life, is figured out before it's understood. Sometimes we just learn to do things without really any idea of why it's useful or effective. We just know it is. And it might seem or sound obvious, but then when you actually break down what's happening, you're like, oh shoot, this is like really cool to learn about. So rubber duck decoding operates on all that, and your Wikipedia page won't break all that info down. So you want to have a lot of fun over the next couple hours, just Google all that stuff and learn about it. All right, we can get that piece drilled in. Where does it go? Right there. We're going to keep the re-screwing things in or unscrewing things in to a minimum. That's the idea. I've had a surprisingly large amount of tasks that I've had to redo with IKEA furniture lately. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm in a different personal area, but I feel like IKEA furniture has gotten more difficult and more confusing to build. Or I'm just buying more complex stuff. But I also grew up building a lot of Walmart furniture, and that stuff, I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Flimsy, breakable, but somehow can get the job done for a decade. We're moving up in the world. IKEA furniture. Though I might still buy a bookshelf from Walmart. Yep. All right. That's looking good. Right on, right on, right on. Sweet, sweet. What time is it? Good. Got one more appointment tonight, but I'm doing this for the hour in between. We're moving along. We're really getting going. I will say this, if you're listening, I think the video capacity does cut off the 22-minute mark-ish. That's what I'm banking on because the video quality, for some reason, just stops when I'm using this device. I'm going to try and work around that diligently, but if it cuts off before, which is in the next 3 minutes, sorry, and have a good one. So if that happens to happen, then so be it. All right, moment of truth. This should click. These should connect and link. Let's see if the mic can pick it up. Yeah, that was not satisfying, but I think we heard it. Good stuff, good stuff. Progress. Life is just generally much more easy and simple when thinking in terms of just progress. Step by step progress. You got something that needs done, and you just make some progress towards it. And that really can be enough at times, I think. Just don't worry too much about the big picture all the time. And I'm a pretty big picture guy, but I think sometimes there's a lot of benefit of just do what's in front of you, especially if it's good work and it's work that needs done. And I know it's not always that obvious in life what's important and what needs done. Uh-oh, did I cut the wood on this? we just move forward. No, sorry. Not like that. If I would have cut the wood there, that would suck and it would be a setback. But at the end of the day, I have a goal for building a really good business over time. So even if this set me back by a day or 3, I got a 50-year timeline I'm working on. So whatever. Although I'd rather not stack 3-day setbacks all the time. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to freak out or panic. And that's an encouragement to myself because I do sometimes take things too seriously. And I'm working on that personally because I think I will live a longer, happier life if I can just not care about stuff as much. So it's also the reminder that me, like with all people, sometimes are better preachers than we are acting, which is hypocritical to a degree. And I want to minimize that as much as possible. So I got a good amount more of this to do. I may or may not get done with it tonight, but as always, I appreciate all of you who tune in. This was an interesting format of a video, but these are important, and why not 2 birds with 1 stone and have y'all join me and get to show you the room sooner because I got to work on it for an extra 22 minutes, perhaps more than the video would have been, and I had fun just dialoguing, more of a loose musing. So yeah, as always, it's good to see everyone. Hope you have a joyful rest of your Monday and week, and as always, I will look forward to seeing you next Monday. See ya.